Hey everyone, it's Dustorm here from Podtacular, and this is the first video that we're going to try on our video series that you guys have been requesting. Some of you out there have probably seen videos that people like Naked Eli and Green Skull have done, and they basically just talk about some of the Halo news and do some commentary. But some of you guys have requested that we try something like that, so we're actually going to try doing those ourselves. We're going to look at 3 different formats or 4 different formats and see what you guys prefer. This first one is going to be mostly commentary over a video. And this video is actually from a play night with a lot of the 343 moderators over on the Waypoint forums. So you'll see a lot of names that you should recognize from the moderator staff. These videos will mainly be for whenever news gets released or whenever there's a big update of some kind. We're going to go ahead and put one of these out. Other than that, we're going to try to do these maybe once a week in line with the podcast and see how well they go, see how much time and effort it takes for me or whoever else decides to step up and do these with me to actually put the videos together, produce them, commentate over them, or do whatever we decide to end up doing in the end. So some other of the formats that we're going to try to look into is doing just a face shot of me in my room. I would do that first, but unfortunately right now I'm still waiting for all my stuff to get up here. I just moved and I started my job a month ago, so I'm still waiting for the rest of my stuff to get up here, and it looks very bare. You would just see me with a tan wall behind me, which is not very appealing or entertaining when you're just watching someone talk. So we're going to try that sometime down the road whenever I get my stuff up here. And we'll try in-game commentary where you'll just see a couple of us head bobbing, or maybe it might just be me, and we will give the news that way. There's not really much news that came out this week. There was a bulletin that came out yesterday, and Jessica Shea, or BS Angel's, back in the studio and started doing the write-ups again. But we don't really have much new Halo 4 information since the past week from what we had, so this is going to be more of a dry test run. So until we get more information, I guess you'll have to wait until we actually have some news to really judge how these videos are going to be produced and how well they'll be done. So Jess was out in Los Angeles, California this past week to work on the Forward Unto Dawn live action film, or not film, sorry, TV show series or web series or whatever it ends up being. And this, according to a tweet from one of the Waypoint moderators, is supposed to be as long as possibly a feature film. I guess all the episodes put together is supposed to be around 75 minutes. So this might be a good glimpse into what a Halo movie could be like. And all this is actually being done by 343 Studios and people and companies that 343 Studios has contracted out. So maybe this might be a good test run to see what kind of capabilities 343 and Microsoft has to put a movie together. Maybe look at some of the talent in the industry and possibilities of doing something like this coming down the road, maybe in the middle of this Forerunner trilogy. The funny thing with doing a movie, though, is there's 2 different audiences that you could really capture. One would be the core audience, but you already get the majority of the story of Chief through the games, and that's the way that you experience. But then other people that aren't necessarily into the campaign of Halo, or mainly focus on multiplayer, don't necessarily know that, and the stories in there, and they would want to see something with the Chief. So there's 2 different arguments to that, and I will explain that in another video. There's a little piece in the Waypoint Bulletin talking about grunts and how they changed up the grunts for Halo 4 from their more comedic looking style from Halo 3 and the past Halo games. There's some screenshots that came out on IGN a couple weeks ago, and now there's one on the Bulletin. It shows you the real toughness and grunginess of the grunts, and if you look at it, it basically looks like a turtle that's standing up and with the funky little tube going from the backpack finally to the nostrils of the grunt. It looks something to be fearful about, no doubt. It's not as comedic anymore. That's going to make me wonder what's going to happen with the Grunt Birthday Party skull, because that's probably one of the best skulls in the game, and I think it's probably a lot of people's favorite. as well as being able to shoot grunts in the head and just see confetti go everywhere and hear all the kids go yay. So we'll see how that turns out. Personally, I think with how the grunts look, the elites have looked pretty badass already. Just making the grunts look even more badass, I think, is a appropriate direction to take. And with the direction that 343 is going, I have a feeling they know what they're doing. I trust their judgment, and the artistic ability that everyone at the studio has is just amazing so far. You look at the audio that we've had, you look at the artistic, the concept art that we saw back at Halo Fest, and even more concept art that's come out since then. It looks like that we're going to have a pretty good game in terms of storyline and graphics. There's also the Forward Unto Dawn wallpaper. A lot of people were requesting a wallpaper for the shot that had Master Chief turned around and looked like he was walking away with a serious attitude. So you can now go download that in multiple sizes to your liking and make that your new desktop wallpaper for the meantime until you can get some more Halo 4 goodies out there. Super Jackpot Weekend is going to be a 24,000 credit bonus starting on Friday and heading in through Sunday. And all you need to do is go to the Team Objective playlist and you will have the chance to earn that 24,000 credit bonus. So look for the credit jackpots and you could get a massive credit bonus this weekend. In other news, there was the VIP event in New York City, and there wasn't much new information that we had other than all the stuff that had been released from Game Informer before. But one little detail that I mentioned on our last show was the ability to possibly have personal ordnance drops. In Miguel Chavez's write-up, he mentioned that there were some options on his D-pad, and one of them looked like one of the ordnance weapons, and he hit it, and about 30 seconds later, an ordnance weapon dropped. So looks like there's the option in some of these armor loadouts, and this is probably depending on game type, just like they've said with everything else, that you will actually be able to control what power weapons can get deployed on the map. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be different from standard weapon or ordnance drops. I know for most of the games you have rockets on 3 minutes, sniper on 2 minutes, shotgun on 90 seconds, those kind of spawn rates. And I'm wondering if those are going to be separate or if they're going to be game type dependent or independent, and that whenever you have your personal ordnance drops, they take precedence over in-game timed ordnance drops. So this is going to have to be something that we'll see further down the pipe as 343 releases more details. In the Game Informer podcast that came out, there was some information about Halo having Forge back in the game. There wasn't any details on what specifically was in there or not, but we can be sure that a lot of the Forge tools that we had in Halo 3 and Halo Reach, mostly Halo Reach because they had a lot of extra features, are going to be in Halo 4. We're going to still have those new tools that we have in Forge 2.0 and probably a lot of extra ones. Now, there's rumors out right now that we're going to see some actual terrain editor-like stuff where we can actually go and build new maps, basically, from templates and from scratch. I have a feeling that's going to be the way they're going to deliver some of these Spartan Ops missions, because in order for them to deliver a week-by-week series, I think the only way they can do that is if they have some type of forging capabilities that they can go in there, pull down terrain of that kind of forge data that they can convert into maps, and then make the experience even that much more diverse. So we'll have to see what kind of new features in Forge. That's probably not the only thing that we'll see, but from what we've heard from rumors, that's something that's very likely to come down the pipe. Tonight on the show, we're actually going to be talking about Halo campaign stuff. There hasn't been much information about that so far, but there was an article that Game Informer released about 2 weeks ago about Cortana and some of the issues that she's going through now, since she's had about the extent of her 7-year lifespan. There's a lot of emphasis on how smart AIs, which are AIs that have been essentially cloned from human brains, go rampant after about 7 years. And by rampant, that means they literally think themselves to death. Cortana has a special case because she's been involved with a lot of this new Covenant technology. She's picked up some architecture that's probably changed her in a lot of ways that we're not even sure yet. And from what Frankie has said in a lot of the interviews that he's done, the Chief and Cortana are going to have to really fight through some of these hard times that are coming up. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that's going on with Cortana. And with fighting the Covenant and this new class of enemies, there's going to be a lot of struggle between the two of them, and Cortana might turn up being some kind of enemy or force against the Chief, as well, as she's coming up with these crazy ideas and not being able to think straight, and possibly putting the Chief at a very high risk of getting himself severely injured or killed. But we know he won't be killed until at least Halo 6, if not way past then. So there's going to be a lot of challenges for the Chief coming down the road on this mysterious new planet that we have very little information about. All we know that is that it's probably something Forerunner. From the design and from what we've seen and from the books, it's a shield world, it's a Dyson sphere of some kind. We definitely know that the Forward Unto Dawn is falling into this Dyson sphere. And from the New York event, we know that the Covenant is one of the first engagements that we have, and it's the first 10 minutes. They've described it a lot like Cairo Station, where you're being boarded by enemy Covenant forces and you're having to fight them off as the ship wakes up and is still falling towards this mysterious mass of some kind in outer space in the middle of nowhere. As this video wraps up, I want to mention a couple things that we're going to be doing on Podtacular coming really soon. The server for the beta forums is being moved. It's finally being moved from where I was back at school out here, and it has to be taken offline, so the forums will be cloned at some point. I'll get the IPs redirected, so there may be some time where the forums may be down in the next 2 weeks, but there's been a lot of issues on the forums lately, so it's really brought to my attention that we need to get the forums updated and get the software up and running. So I'm going to try to work on it for a good amount of time this weekend, see if I can push out the rest of the theme and basically go from getting all these spam messages, pushing out the new one, and getting a lot of these issues resolved. Now, the thing with the new forums is everything is going to be wiped. It's going to be a clean slate. Everyone's going to have to re-register back on the forums. Some people have asked that the old join dates be re-implemented. That will be done on a case-by-case basis where you can request it. I can go back and check on the old forums, and I will update it in the databases manually. So this pretty much wraps up this first update. Let me know what you guys think. I know there's probably a lot of things you guys have to say about how I'm doing this, and that's why I want you guys to comment. Let me know what you guys think, what you think I need to improve on, what other things you would like to see me talk about and bring up. Should I mention some more Halo news type stuff, or should I mention more stuff about the community? So give me tips, give me pointers, let me know what you think. I'll try doing some different kinds of commentating or news delivery in the near future. And please share with your friends and subscribe so we can get more people, because the more people I have that can judge this, the better I can make this and make it more enjoyable for you guys and make this a good source of news for the rest of you guys to listen to or watch and enjoy. So make sure you check out the podcast. Episode 289 is going to be released out tomorrow. We're recording it tonight. So thanks again for watching, guys.